Jason Momoa, the untamed force of Hollywood. The man who transformed Aquaman into a global icon and unleashed the savage power of Khal Drogo across Game of Thrones. From a Hawaiian boy raised with the soul of the Pacific to a towering star commanding every red carpet he steps onto, Jason forged his own path through storms that would have broken most people. But beneath the fame, the muscles, and the fearless smile is a life shaped by pain. A horrific accident that nearly destroyed his left eye. A childhood ripped apart between two distant worlds, separated from his father and the ocean he considered home. A romance with Lisa Bonet that millions once believed would last forever, only to end in heartbreaking silence. And the crushing sorrow surrounding the loss of his close friend and Fast and Furious star Paul Walker, whose sudden death left a wound that time could never completely erase. Now, at 46, another chapter of his story is unfolding, one that feels heavier, more uncertain, and more emotional than anything before it. And if Jason Momoa has ever inspired you with his courage, compassion, or refusal to surrender, hit that like button as a tribute to a man who proved that even the strongest heroes can be wounded. Because the greatest warriors aren't those who never fall. They are the ones who somehow find the strength to stand again. Sometimes, the darkest chapters of a legend begin before the world ever knows their name. For Jason, that darkness began in Honolulu, a paradise that gave him the ocean but quietly took away the father he needed most. Born under the radiant Hawaiian sun in Honolulu on August 1, 1979, the young Jason carried a name deeply connected to his island heritage, surrounded by the restless energy of the Pacific. Before fame, before Hollywood, before the cameras, his earliest memories were shaped by the endless rhythm of waves and the powerful roar of water crashing against ancient volcanic shores. His father, Joseph Momoa, a respected native Hawaiian artist, introduced him to the idea that art could reveal emotions that words could never express. His mother, Connie Lemke, a photographer with German, Irish, and Native American ancestry, taught him another kind of vision, the ability to find meaning in light, darkness, and everything existing between them. Together, they were independent souls who had fallen deeply in love, yet somehow could not remain together. And while Jason was still far too young to understand what was happening, the family he knew began disappearing like footprints washed away by the Pacific. Suddenly, the island boy was carried thousands of miles from the ocean and into the unfamiliar world of Norwalk, Iowa. For a child whose identity was tied to the sea, the change was devastating. The endless fields replaced the horizon of blue water. Bitter snow took the place of warm Hawaiian surf. And the familiar songs of the ocean were replaced by a silence that seemed almost unbearable. The horizon was still endless, but Jason no longer saw freedom in it. He saw emptiness. He longed for the smell of salt drifting through the air, the warmth of his father's presence, and the steady pulse of waves that once made him feel safe. There were moments when he would walk through quiet streets, almost expecting to hear a familiar voice that never appeared. He watched other children laugh and play while feeling like an outsider looking through an invisible window. It was as though the world had moved forward without him, leaving him behind. And life wasn't gentle with his family. Money was scarce, and the Iowa winters were brutally unforgiving. Cold air found its way through poly-insulated walls while their modest apartment struggled to stay warm. Meals were stretched as far as they could go. A simple can of soup could become dinner, divided carefully between a mother and her young son. His mother, strong yet tender, became his entire world, raising him by herself while working 2 jobs just to keep their lives moving forward. Every sacrifice she made became a lesson in resilience, but even her love could not erase the empty space left behind by a missing father. While other children ran beneath open skies with their families beside them, Jason quietly discovered what it meant to carry grief without having the words to explain it. He saw fathers waiting outside school gates, watched them embrace their sons after long days, and felt the sting of knowing that one familiar face would never be there for him. At school functions, empty seats seemed to speak louder than any applause. At night, he would lie awake imagining the face of the father he barely knew, wondering whether the ocean back in Hawaii somehow remembered him. Years later, Jason would reflect on those painful years and explain that the warriors he portrayed on screen were born from that lonely child in Iowa, the boy still yearning for the sea and fighting battles that no one else could see. But even thousands of miles away, the wilderness continued calling his name. He climbed towering trees as though they were cliffs overlooking the Pacific. He raced through violent storms as if he could finally catch the wind that had once carried him away from home. He challenged freezing rivers, pushed through towering snowbanks, and discovered something unexpected in the wild. Nature became his sanctuary. Sand disappeared beneath layers of snow, but the fire within him refused to die. Every sunrise he witnessed felt like another victory over the darkness that had followed him since childhood. School became another battlefield, a place where his restless energy collided with the question of who he was supposed to become. He struggled to fit his identity into a world that never seemed to understand the spirit burning beneath the surface. But those painful experiences would eventually become the foundation of his strength. From that point forward, Jason would learn to transform emptiness into strength, quietness into power, and pain into something impossible to ignore. The ocean never truly left him. It remained alive beneath his skin, beating like a second heart. Every imagined wave carried an echo of everything he had lost. Every cold wind seemed to remind him of a home that was distant but never truly gone. His childhood became a fire created by separation, a force that would eventually drive him to chase life with an intensity few could ever match. It's almost impossible to understand how far he had to travel between wanting to belong and simply learning how to survive. After graduating from high school, Jason initially followed his fascination with the ocean by studying marine biology, hoping to understand the world he had been separated from. But the restless spirit inside him could never be satisfied by lectures and textbooks alone. His search for meaning eventually took him far beyond Hawaii. He traveled to Paris, where he explored art and learned to capture emotion through painting, and later journeyed to Tibet, searching for peace in the presence of monks and ancient traditions. Every destination offered another piece of the person he was becoming, another bridge connecting the wounded child he once was to the man he desperately wanted to be. Yet no matter how far he traveled, something inside him continued pulling him toward Hawaii. Before completing his final year of study, Jason abandoned the path he had been following, not because he had failed, but because his heart was calling him home. When he finally returned to the islands, the familiar ocean breeze seemed almost like an apology from the past. He reunited with his father, stood once again beside the waters where his life had begun. And for one brief moment, the storm inside him finally became quiet. But the dream of returning home did not magically make life easier. He found work at a surf shop, spending long days on scorching floors while selling boards to visitors who had no idea how much pain was hidden behind his eyes. Every paycheck felt like a temporary victory. Enough for food, enough to survive another month, enough to keep a roof over his head. The job demanded everything from him. He hauled heavy surfboards until his shoulders burned, cleaned equipment until his skin cracked, and pushed through exhaustion because there was no other choice. When night arrived, the struggle often became even harder. He lived in cramped surroundings where the smell of dampness mixed with the salty air. Rainwater found its way through the ceiling, and there were moments when he had nowhere to sleep at all. On some nights, he found a bench near the ocean, wrapped himself in a thin, worn-out blanket, and listened to the same waves that had once comforted him as a child. Hunger became a constant companion. His hands went numb from endless work, while stress and exhaustion left their marks across his battered knuckles. When there was nowhere else to go, public beaches became his place to wash away another day of struggle. He scraped together every last coin just to buy something small to eat, but surrender was never an option. Even when freezing nights brought doubt creeping into his mind, the ocean seemed to deliver the same silent message: no storm lasts forever. Then, unexpectedly, destiny arrived through someone he had never met. On a rainy afternoon in 1999, Japanese designer Takeo Kobayashi spotted the tall, tanned young man working around a surf shop and saw something others had overlooked. He offered Jason an opportunity to step into modeling. Jason reportedly laughed at the idea. He had no professional training, no rehearsed poses, and no carefully manufactured charisma. What he possessed was something far more instinctive: the rugged presence of someone who had experienced hunger, freezing nights, and the uncertainty of not knowing where he would sleep. Just months later, he was recognized as Hawaii's Model of the Year. To everyone watching, it looked like instant glamour. To Jason, it felt like something much deeper. For the first time in his life, it seemed as though destiny was finally telling him, "You have a place here." Years later, he would describe that moment as if a new life had suddenly begun. Standing barefoot beneath the lights, overwhelmed by emotion and disbelief, he was living a reality he had once considered impossible. But success didn't arrive overnight. For months, Jason bounced between modeling assignments and acting auditions, placing his hopes on opportunities that often ended with another rejection. Every no reopened old wounds. The days became indistinguishable from one another, and when money ran short, his car became his bedroom. He would climb into the back seat, close the doors, and watch condensation gather across the windows as he tried to sleep. Cheap food had to last for days, and there were times when he could manage only one meal, carefully stretching whatever little he had. He even borrowed cash from friends who were struggling themselves, feeling the weight of embarrassment every time he asked for help. Eventually, the thought of quitting began to feel dangerously comforting. He considered returning to the surf shop and abandoning Hollywood altogether. Maybe the dream had never been meant for him. Maybe someone who grew up carrying abandonment and uncertainty wasn't supposed to reach the top. Then one phone call changed the direction of his entire life. Out of more than 1,300 hopeful actors, Jason earned a role on Baywatch Hawaii, playing Jason Iowan. The opportunity eventually led to dozens of episodes and a feature film. For the first time, he wasn't simply trying to survive from one day to the next. He was finally building something. Jason would later reflect that if that call had never come, his story might have disappeared into obscurity. He had been just one audition, one opportunity, one decision away from walking away forever. Baywatch opened doors that had once seemed permanently locked. Still, Jason had to fight for every opportunity because Hollywood didn't immediately know where he belonged. He was considered too imposing, too unconventional, too unpredictable to fit the traditional mold. But in 2005, everything began to shift when he joined Stargate Atlantis as Ronan Dex. The character was a warrior displaced from his home, constantly searching for purpose and belonging, a role that seemed strangely connected to Jason's own life. He remained with the series for several years, building a loyal fan base and proving that his unusual presence could become his greatest advantage. Then came the role that would change everything. In 2011, HBO selected him to portray Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. Although his time on the series lasted only a limited number of episodes, Jason's impact was enormous. He was terrifying, commanding, and impossible to forget. Suddenly, the world knew his name. But becoming a global star demanded a brutal price. His body was pushed through punishing workouts, while exhaustion constantly battled against his hunger to succeed. And just when his career appeared to be reaching new heights, tragedy struck. In 2017, after leaving a Los Angeles bar, Jason was reportedly attacked by a man who smashed a beer glass into his face. The impact caused severe injuries around his left eye, leaving him terrified that his vision could be permanently damaged. Blood covered his face as he was rushed for emergency treatment, where he required numerous stitches. The wound eventually healed, but the scar remained, permanently marking the moment his life could have changed forever. For a man whose appearance had become part of his career, the injury raised a frightening question. Would audiences still see him the same way? Years later, Jason would reflect on the experience as a reminder that pain doesn't always need to be displayed to be real. Some wounds remain hidden beneath confidence, strength, and fame. He believed the accident might have been the lowest point of his journey, but destiny still had another transformation waiting for him. That same year, he was chosen to play Aquaman in Justice League, a casting decision that would eventually redefine his career. The preparation was relentless. He trained until his body was pushed to its limits, endured freezing water, and demanded more from himself even when exhaustion screamed for him to stop. When Aquaman arrived in theaters in 2018, the film became a worldwide phenomenon, earning more than $1 billion globally and turning Jason into one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Yet behind the success, another kind of pain remained buried deep inside him. Years earlier, during the production of Fast and Furious 7, Jason had suffered the devastating loss of his friend and fellow actor Paul Walker, who died in a tragic car crash in 2013. The news reportedly devastated him. Paul wasn't simply someone he had worked alongside. To Jason, he was a genuine friend, someone who understood the strange isolation that can come with fame and the pressure of living under the world's constant gaze. The loss left Jason shattered. For days, grief consumed him. Sleep became difficult. Food lost its meaning. And no amount of fame could fill the silence left behind. He didn't fight it. He simply allowed himself to grieve, as though sorrow had its own map, leading him back to the same painful places again and again. Then came another devastating chapter, the collapse of his marriage. Jason had first crossed paths with Lisa Bonet in 2005, and their connection quickly felt almost destined. She was older, an accomplished mother, an artist with an unmistakable sense of mystery and elegance. Their relationship eventually became one of Hollywood's most admired love stories, and they married in 2017. After more than a decade together, they welcomed 2 children, Lola Iolani and Nakoa Wolf, whose presence became the center of Jason's universe. From the outside, they appear to have created the family he had always dreamed of. To Jason, they were not simply a family. They were everything he had once been missing. But by 2022, after years of growing distance, demanding careers, and the quiet pressure that fame can place on even the strongest relationships, the couple separated. There was no dramatic explosion, no single moment that destroyed everything. Instead, something between them slowly disappeared, like the final light slipping from a fading sunset. The man who had spent years building his world around love and family was suddenly forced to walk through the wreckage of the life he thought would last forever. And once again, the ocean inside him became violent, breaking into waves of pain he could no longer control. The grief remained with him, not as something that could simply be forgotten, but as another permanent mark on the person he had become. Then came another battle: money. Despite appearing in major Hollywood productions, Jason's financial life was reportedly far less stable than many people imagined. At one point, he allegedly had only around $1,700 available in his bank account while facing years of unresolved tax obligations. The pressure of financial bureaucracy collided with the demands of his creative career, forcing him to confront a reality that fame could not erase. Instead of surrendering, he began rebuilding with the same determination that had carried him through childhood. He accepted smaller projects, expanded into producing, and explored businesses that reflected his environmental values. He became involved with Menenilu, an eco-focused bottled water company, while also pursuing ventures connected to sustainable fashion and lifestyle products. Slowly, piece by piece, he began creating a new foundation beneath his life. Every paycheck became another step forward. Every problem solved felt like one more weight lifted from his shoulders. And somewhere along that difficult road, Jason found love again with Audrey Arjona, who was younger than him. What they appeared to share wasn't simply a glamorous Hollywood romance, but a sense of peace that seemed to arrive after years of emotional storms. Her presence brought balance to a life that had often been defined by chaos. Together, they had been seen embracing a life filled with adventure, riding motorcycles along winding coastal highways, exploring rugged landscapes, hiking through volcanic terrain, and enjoying quiet evenings away from the relentless spotlight. The boy who once wandered through freezing Iowa winters eventually built a life that reflected his deepest passions. His world became connected to California, Hawaii, motorcycles, the ocean, and a collection of possessions that revealed his adventurous personality. Harley-Davidson motorcycles, classic vehicles, off-road expedition machines, boats, surfboards, and other personal treasures became part of the lifestyle he had created. He even surrounded himself with animals, including wolf dogs and a donkey, adding another unusual chapter to his already extraordinary story. Now, at 46, Jason Momoa stands as a reminder that a person can survive heartbreak, rebuild after failure, and turn even the darkest experiences into sources of strength. His financial success may be measured by estimates of his net worth, but those numbers tell only a fraction of his story. What truly defines him is the life he chooses to create with his time, his family, his creativity, and his influence. Over the years, Jason has supported environmental causes, ocean conservation efforts, disaster relief initiatives, and campaigns focused on helping young people. His connection to the ocean remains deeply personal. He has participated in cleanup efforts, advocated for protecting marine environments, and used his public platform to encourage people to treat the planet with greater responsibility. For him, caring for the natural world isn't simply a celebrity cause. It's connected to the identity he has carried since childhood. And family continues to remain at the center of everything. His children, Nakoa Wolf and Lola Iolani, have grown up surrounded by the same ocean and wilderness that shaped their father's identity. Their lives have been filled with opportunities to experience nature, creativity, and adventure. Whether spending time near the water, exploring the outdoors, or simply sharing moments away from cameras, Jason has worked to give them something he once desperately wanted: a sense of belonging. The same boy who spent his childhood wondering about a father he barely knew now understands the importance of being present for his own children. His journey can be traced through the waves. From the little boy separated from Hawaii, to the struggling young man sleeping in his car, to the actor who nearly gave up before landing his breakthrough role, and finally to the global star who became Aquaman. Every chapter carries the same message. Applause eventually disappears, trophies eventually gather dust, and fame never lasts forever. But love, compassion, courage, and the ability to rise after being knocked down, those are the things that remain. From a child separated from the ocean to a man who dedicated much of his life to protecting it, Jason Momoa's story is ultimately about resilience. It's proof that strength doesn't mean escaping suffering. It means refusing to allow suffering to become your identity. His life reminds us that real wealth isn't found only in bank accounts, expensive possessions, or worldwide recognition. It's found in the people we love, the memories we create, the battles we survive, and the difference we leave behind. If Jason Momoa's journey touched something inside you, share your thoughts in the comments and tell us which moment in his life affected you the most. And wherever you are tonight, remember this: storms may leave scars, but they can also reveal strength you never knew existed. May you find the courage to face your darkest waves, the strength to survive every wound, and the wisdom to transform every scar into a story that inspires someone else to keep going.